What's up, guys? This is Drew with Looking Fishy. Number one question I get is how to catch a grass carp, what fly to use, what behaviors, just all that stuff. So I figured I'd go ahead and put together a how-to video, make it really quick, short, talk about some of the things that I do, some of the mistakes I've made, and really what I feel like has really helped me progress as a grass carp fly fisherman over the last couple years. When I first got started, there were not a lot of videos out there on catching carp on the fly, and the ones that were out there were all with dealing with common carp. And grass carp don't respond in the same way. They're not the same type of fish behavior-wise. You can't drop and drag, relying on their predatory instinct to chase bait and or maybe get a reactionary strike. That doesn't. Grass carp don't do that. They're more opportunistic, so the way we target them is going to have to be a little bit different. So some things to avoid, some carp basically not to waste your time with, are the zombie carp, the ones that are just laying on the bottom not doing anything. Carp that are moving from deep water to shallow water, that transition, those fish are coming from a protective area and they're kind of vulnerable until they get on the shallows and relax. So I kind of avoid casting into those. And then the carp that are grouped together, 4, 5, 6 carp together, you see a big school, you get excited. Those carp like that are usually bunched up because they need the protection. They've either been spooked already, or they're alerted, or whatever. But they usually don't school up like that unless there's something wrong. So I don't cast them. I try to avoid them. Some of the things you should be looking for are tailing carp. Those are carp that are eating on the bottom, and they're usually a little bit oblivious to their surroundings, and it gives you a good opportunity to get close and get a fly in front of them. Anytime you see a fish eat something, whether that's like a couple weeks ago, I found one eating leaves off of a branch. And I'm sure it wasn't expecting a fly or a terrestrial to fall down beside it, but I threw a little dry fly off the side. And probably what happens more likely, it's happened before, is that a hopper jumped in the water or an ant fell in, and they'll take advantage of those opportunities. They're not gonna pass on a free meal. So if you see that, you should definitely go chase those fish down and see if you can get a fly in front of them. Anytime you see a fish feed on top, it happens here a lot. They eat wasps, they eat horseflies, they eat hexes, yeah, I mean, you see a fish eat, it doesn't matter if it's a bass or a grass carp, you're pretty much going to chase those down. Some of the things I try to avoid when I'm out there is making a lot of noise, right? So the approach I take when I get on the water is probably a little different than most people. It's a sight fishing game, and you have to move around the water a little bit different when you're doing that, right? The way you set yourself up, paying attention where the sun is, where the shadows are at, and then how close you get to the fish depends on a lot on how far you have to make a cast. When you're throwing a grass carp, you're looking at a small window, right? They're not going to eat. They're not, like we said, they're not predatory type fish. You're not getting a reaction strike. They're not chasing anything down, so you have to land a fly within about a foot, maybe a foot and a half of where their head is. I try to place the fly on the left or the right side, depending on what's around and which way they're kind of moving and turning. And what that does is it gives them a chance to either continue, they don't feel restricted or vulnerable, or they can turn. And it's like a 10% chance they're going to turn and eat. But that's that's the best you can hope for, and that's so I always try to land that fly on the left or the right side and give that fish a choice, right? He can move on or he can turn. Sometimes they turn. I guess the other thing to talk about would be how you approach getting close enough to a fish. You want to wear light colored clothes, you want to kind of blend in the best you can. It doesn't take much to spook these fish. They're really in tune with their surroundings, and they're skittish. So the best opportunity you have, the best chance you have of catching one of these fish is just not to make any noise. You don't want to move around a lot. One thing I found is they see fast movements really, really well. When I'm in my kayak, I pull really, really slow. And that kind of brings me to another thing. Trolling motors, paddles, moving the water, when they know you're in their environment, they're going to be on guard. Maybe they're not going to be spooked, but they know something's wrong, and they just don't respond anymore. So if you can kind of find your way around the flat without disturbing it too much, basically minimizing your impact, you're going to have a better success. Alright guys, thanks for watching. That is everything I know about catching grass carp on the fly. I hope some of it is helpful. Like I said, they're a challenge. They're a lot of fun. But I'm going to put together part 2 of this video, probably talk about fly rod selection, fly selection, and leader setup. Yeah. So, but I'm going to go fishing now.